live from beautiful snowy.
Yes.
Snow-covered, frigid temperature. It was so cold this morning, I had to kick the dog loose from the fire hydrant.
We don't have very many of those days, but
No, we don't.
No.
It's actually, it's crazy. It's been crazy. This little Arctic blast. And you know what I love is this morning we wake up to the text message and I look outside and it is like, you can see my driveway. It's dusting.
Exactly what you're going to say.
But school's canceled because, why not? Right?
Yeah.
We get,
I miss those days. Why can't we do that for work? We got to be adults.
but like, I mean,
You can't hear.
we never, when I was a kid, man, we didn't cancel school for nothing. We're in Iowa.
I mean, I was.
Yeah, a little different, but yeah, I don't remember hardly ever being out of school for snow.
Well, and in Colorado, I mean,
No, but it's a different kind of snow. In Colorado, it's. I mean, snow is snow,
Right.
but it's very,
is it dry?
very dry, powdery snow.
Okay.
In fact, a really effective way to move the snow in Colorado is with like a leaf blower.
Seriously.
Yeah, you
So
can
it's
just
that light.
you can just dust it off. But I will say this, guys, and I don't know if you noticed, the snow that we had was a little different.
Okay, so was it a little? Did it look like almost fake snow to you?
Yes.
It looked looked odd.
You know what it looked like is at Christmas time we get things and sometimes they're wrapped in styrofoam.
Mhm.
And if you've got a 6-year-old pulling something out of styrofoam, especially because they box tape around the styrofoam, of course,
Yeah.
and he can't wait, you end up with these tiny, tiny specks of styrofoam everywhere, right?
Yeah.
That's what this snow looked like to me.
It looked really. I let the dog out this morning, and it was like, this just. I don't know. This just doesn't look or feel like regular.
Did
I don't
you?
know. It was just different.
It's the government.
I'm telling you, listen.
Hey, listen. The first thing I thought of was like,
Government snow.
if I told Jeremy and Jared this,
It's that good DARPA snow. That's what it is.
But here's the thing: I wanted to does anybody who has a microscope? Anybody out there listening? Anybody with a microscope?
I don't know.
Can you pull up some of this snow and take a look at it? Because I think that stuff's probably moving.
It's different. It looked like that when I stepped on it, it was not going to melt. It would just stay
It's
there.
like
Part of that, I think, is the cold, though.
it's like McDonald's
so
snow.
bloody
No,
cold. You
no,
don't
that's
think so?
no,
Okay.
no. I don't think that's it at all. I think
I'm not saying it was fake but it. I will. It's odd that you say that because that's my very first thought when I opened the door and the sun was shining on it, and I was like, that is just odd looking.
But then you go back to this. Is it because I watched stories about the fog? Is it because now my mind is at a place of they're coming for me?
That's exactly why. Yeah.
Everything is like, did that tree just speak to me? It's like the old joke about, I don't believe in Autobots. And I told the joke about the Autobots and I laughed and my wife laughed and the toaster laughed. So I shot the toaster, like that whole,
I have no idea.
I don't either, dude.
I'm lost.
I'm like,
did I lose you?
oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
But
Talking toasters and
Transformers,
Autobots. Yeah.
Okay.
I told a joke about Transformers and my wife laughed and I laughed and the toaster laughed. So I shot the toaster.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I got you now.
but that's kind of what it's like. You wake up, you see this snow, which is probably just snow.
Mm-hmm.
But internally you go, wait a minute. Did that snow just speak to me?
We have messed with our own minds.
It's bad. It's bad.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you listen to Ian Carroll? Have you ever listened to him?
no.
So Ian Carroll does some amazing conspiratorial work, like this conspiracy theory type work.
Okay.
And he is.
I like him. I don't even know him. But
Oh yeah, you need to check out his stuff.
Okay.
He did one on this guy who was at the Trump Doral shooting. Remember that back several years ago?
Yeah.
And they interviewed him. His interview got released so that you could see his 35-minute interview with the police. And this guy goes into the most unhinged tirade. And this was years ago. But now looking back on it, he pulled it back up and said, okay, I get it. You listen to this guy. He's got a weird, almost a speech impediment. He's fidgety. He's strange. But he was laying out the Diddy stuff, the rap world stuff, and he said,
Like years ago.
Years ago.
Well, it's funny
because
that
he
you bring
said-
that up because tonight we're actually going to do a deep dive. I have brought something with me that you're going to have to figure out how to play.
Yeah,
So
those
we
videos.
we can watch it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I put it in the thumbnail.
Did you?
Oh yeah, the 1990s paper.
Yeah.
Oh
1997 papers came out. 500 pages.
yeah.
And it is absolutely mind-numbing. So you want to stay tuned.
Oh.
Encourage your friends to hop on, whatever, because we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But before we do, somebody light a fire in California.
Shoot, buddy.
What happened?
You know, I don't know how many days ago like it started, but I guess maybe a couple days ago I saw it on the news and was like, obviously the first thing I thought of was, I mean, yeah, it's terrible, but it's another fire in California. I mean, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean,
then-
it's not like a hurricane in
No.
North Carolina. It's a California wildfire.
But I didn't know that they were having 70 to 100 mile an hour winds. And it's growing. It grew in 1 minute. I can't even fathom this. In 1 minute, it grew 500 yards, 5 football fields. That's the pace that it was growing at. And I'm like, how is that even possible? I mean, that is unreal.
And it just assimilates everything in its
Yeah.
path. I mean, it's like,
They would say on the news 20 minutes ago when I was here, this house was standing.
mhm.
And now it's just rubble behind it.
Yeah. And I watch videos of people driving and like in it, surrounded by it. And I go, well, why, why are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's there. They were just driving.
Oh.
And then it's like, here it is, because it's moving so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people are intentionally going, hey, I'll hop in the Hummer. Let's go check out the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go get in the way of first responders. That's a good idea. And if you're listening from California, don't do that. Don't go check it out. Just stay away.
No.
But our heart does go out. I know
That's crazy.
that the cities that have been impacted, the pockets, you're like, oh, well, these are all rich people. No, they're not.
Mm-hmm. Some of them are, but a lot of them.
Most of them are just like us, man, just trying to get by. And, I mean, Jared, pre-show here, we were pre-gaming, and he was talking about, who was it? That
James Woods.
James Woods.
Yes, I saw his interview.
Yeah.
Man.
This wasn't his interview.
Okay.
This was, see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. One of the major insurance companies canceled all the policies in our neighborhood about 4 months ago.
Dude, okay. This just makes people think, okay? Like stuff like this makes people think. I don't know.
It's coincidence.
Yeah.
Right?
I
It's
mean,
just coincidence.
why-
But here's the thing.
Okay.
So especially in regards to this, right? Because I get it. I get it. But why would you eat your own?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a liberal city.
Mhm.
These are, so if this is,
So was Lanai.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I get it. But why would you do that? I mean, is there no regard for people, right? To a point where they're going to go, yeah, or is this just the Santa Ana winds are kicking up the heat and it sucks and they were not prepared? How?
I mean, it's going to be, and there were videos. Trump warned Newsome about this years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually got a video.
Okay.
You can play the one on the Joe Rogan podcast. He warned about it.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me pull that one up. I don't know what is happening to my computer, but it is glitching. Here we go. Let's listen to this.
I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. Your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. And all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
We'll certainly get rid of the dead fall.
And get rid of the trees that are fallen
Yeah.
that, are like.
Yeah.
I mean,
So do we? Okay. So do we listen to this and go, I wonder who started this. You know,
Is it something, you always think, is it something else to put on his plate to have to deal with?
Right. Is it the environmentalists that are trying to drum up more business?
Yeah.
Talking about climate change and is it, what is it?
Yeah.
Where'd it come from? Or is this just an act of God? I mean, if lightning struck 4 places January 1st, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds of the Capitol, the Lincoln Memorial, the Empire State Building, and World Trade Center 1, the Freedom Tower, all being hit almost at the same time by lightning?
Yeah.
I mean, very similar to this.
I get it.
An act of God? Is it an act of God? I don't know. What I do know is you pay the highest taxes in the United States of America, so you don't have functioning fire hydrants.
Yep.
I'd be a little bit angry about this.
When I hear the words during this, and when I see 0% contained and no more water, well, then I guess y'all just go home. Well, I mean, the firemen if
you have a
what do
home
you do
as a fireman, right?
What do you do at that point?
Like,
Well, and this is so the problems have been, and Trump said it before. And other people have said it as well, that the money was there for water storage, for them to build up the reservoirs to do all this, and they dump, millions and millions, billions of gallons of water straight into the ocean. It comes down from Canada and it flows through California, and as opposed to storing it, it's like the rail system all over again. They had billions and billions of dollars to build a rail, and they built 1,600 feet of it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something like a $2.5 billion.
Where is the paper trail for that money? Where is it all sitting there in escrow? Like, do they what?
Well, so there was a report that came out not too long ago where they had I forget how many millions or hundreds of millions or billions that were just missing out of their budget.
Yeah.
They couldn't account for it,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
was-
like the
yep.
federal government.
It was billions of dollars. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the federal government. The Department of Defense is a prime example as well. Big, bloated organizations like California politics or like the federal government, when you start handing over hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, they can shrug off literally billions when your budget is $880 billion like the federal government is,
Yeah,
or whether
$2
it's
billion it just goes missing on pencils.
whatever California's GDP is, it's like, it's a few hundred million. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not too bad. A 10% error, you know? I mean, it's just, and they shrug it off like it's nothing. So yeah, that's how it happens. And we were talking pre-show, how in the world do they run out of water? California, when they know this is a problem, they know they're not managing the undergrowth and all the stuff that's leading to these forest fires. Because one lightning strike, or like years ago, the kid that just was walking down the trail, setting fire to the undergrowth. It's a problem. You're high risk, and they walk through and say, this hydrant's not working. This hydrant's not working, and say, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
It's just
And
neglect.
it never happens.
It's
Right.
just neglect.
How many years has California had fires? Forever.
Forever. Yeah, exactly. Forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
long
there's
as I've
some
been
of
on
it.
this earth.
There's some of it. You're like, okay, it's no different than Colorado.
Right.
When we were out there, it was every year. You could. I mean, there were.
But they're going to get contained. They always do for the most
Yes,
part.
eventually. I mean, we were there for the High Park fire, which was a big fire.
You at least see the progression of, okay, this percentage is contained. This
Yes.
is days and nothing has been contained.
Yeah.
It's like,
Did you see the video of there were 2 people and their dog that were trapped inside of their house?
yes.
Was it the glass house all the way around, and you could just see
just like,
That inferno.
Oh.
It was.
uh,
And how are they still there?
I mean, that's the question.
and they were relatively calm for,
Well, I mean, and they had the presence of mind to film it.
yeah, I mean, it's like,
The last thing I'd be
Man.
doing would be grabbing my cell phone to film it. I can't. I mean, I'd be.
well, if you
I'd
have no
fill
place else to
fill the
go.
tub with water, jump in.
Yeah.
What do you do?
yeah.
What do you do? Did they survive? I mean, or was that?
One minute it looked like it was literally just going to engulf, and that's what the winds were doing. Like 1 minute it looked like there were flames everywhere, and then the next minute it was like, okay, well, they're died down now. Like
And then it's like,
so,
bam.
Yeah.
See if I could find that video.
That is wild.
It was
It's
unbelievable.
all over Twitter. I know that.
Yeah.
So-
let me find it.
LA firefighters are running out of water. Over 30,000 homes evacuated. Think about the homeless there, the cities,
Oh God.
the tent cities.
Because they're
I
homeless.
mean-
That thing is terrible.
It's just awful. And they still don't know how they started. Yeah, this video. Oh my gosh.
That scared the heck out of me. I didn't know what was going on.
This is what hell will look like, right?
Oh,
I mean,
that's what came to mind.
lawn chairs.
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
What do you do?
What?
I don't know if there's any bad language in this, so I'll,
I mean, listen to that.
Just be okay. You're gonna be okay. Hi. You're gonna be okay.
Relatively calm for
I'm sorry, I would not be that calm.
no.
Don't worry about that, dude.
Well, you kind of have to be, though. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I guess you can't. There's nothing else you could.
There's what else are you going to do?
I mean, see, then it dies down.
Yeah, it stops, and then watch that gust of wind.
Yeah.
Oh, it comes on
And
like
then it's
so.
just right back, man. I mean,
Sorry about the language.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
There it goes. Watch that.
The sprinklers.
I've just never.
Oh, they have house sprinklers.
Yeah,
Is that what that is?
I've never seen anything like that.
Okay.
Or was that they flew over and dumped on it?
Oh, they may have.
That could have been it.
That could have been
Gas
it.
is
Yes.
off right now.
Gas is
Gas
off.
is off. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
Look at that swirling. Have you ever seen Constantine?
Don't open the window.
No,
Don't open anything.
it's like you're in a fire tornado or something. I mean that.
My goodness, that is just unbelievable.
The movie Constantine, I don't know if you've seen it, it's with Keanu Reeves. He's basically an exorcist.
He's a great actor.
He is. He's the same character in every movie.
Every movie. Yes.
But no, it looks exactly like when he goes to hell, into hell.
This is what it's like.
That's exactly what it looked like that. Not that that's a realistic depiction, but
Good Lord, that's just insane. What are you boys doing there? Get out. Well, unless
it just came so fast.
it was like, hey, they got a big TV.
Yeah.
And then they get trapped, let's film this, whatever. Yeah. But okay. Out of water, ill prepared. If you live in California, just leave. Just come here and vote Republican.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your safe
Right?
bet.
That's it.
I just feel so bad for them. And California is such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
why out of all the places in this country do they have to mess it up with poor government?
yeah.
Why do they do it? Like,
And there was
all those people just go to New York.
Yeah.
Go ahead and mess up Manhattan. Go ahead and mess up the boroughs. They're already
said,
a mess.
We have no water.
Oops, sorry.
It's so funny when we have no water.
That was an accidental play there.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. We have no water. Yeah, it was perfect.
But see, remember it was Lahaina, right? That's how you.
Yeah.
so- okay.
Yeah, Lahaina. Yeah.
One road in, one road out. This was for the majority of the neighborhoods here.
Yeah.
That was the same thing.
Yeah,
So it's like,
The sprinkler
When-
system in Lahaina wasn't working.
right.
The most sophisticated alert system in the world, or
Not
whatever
working.
it is, wasn't working.
When are we going to start to hear about blue roofs? When
Oh,
are we
yeah.
going to start to hear about the lasers? When are we going to start to hear about that stuff? Because it's just a matter of time before somebody starts posting that,
oh yeah, because I thought about that today. I was
whether
like,
it's true or not.
right. I was
you
like,
know?
when do we see pictures circulating of blue roofs? When's that going to happen?
Right. It will.
Yeah.
Look, the blue Tesla is just fine.
That's right.
Just fine.
Yes.
So it's just such a heartbreak. So, Lord, be with the people of California tonight,
Yeah.
especially the LA area, and help them to get this thing under control. Make it rain in Jesus' name.
Uh-huh.
That's what we pray.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I would hope, you would think that after so many examples of incompetence, people would start taking the appropriate action and start
this is-
saying,
I get it.
But so many times though, they just
Here it's
they reelect, just like in Chicago. It's like Brian Johnson?
this is a natural consequence.
I mean, you just
Yeah.
But he wins again. It's like, but y'all are so unhappy. You're so scared of change that you just won't
yeah.
do it.
Right. Right.
I don't know.
Better the devil we know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, you still feel that way?
I mean,
Are you still feeling that way, California?
Yeah.
You better change up your votes because this isn't working. It hasn't worked for years, but because it didn't affect the major cities, they let it go because it was in Reading, because it was in these other cities. The incompetence of the state was in all these areas. It didn't affect LA, didn't affect San Francisco, didn't affect. Now you're getting what you get. You need to vote him out. He needs to be like Trudeau and just go away.
it's like Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt, and then them being like, we miss what we had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. Yep. It's funny. The Bible talks about dogs returning to their own
Yeah,
vomit.
buddy.
It's what they're over and over. Let's just, what? It ain't broke. Don't fix it. No, it is broke.
No, it is.
That's the problem.
It's completely busted.
But you just don't know it because you've been so accustomed to this is how life really is and how it should be that you're accepting things and tolerate. And we are all doing it.
You're comfortable.
We are all doing it. Where we go, you know what? Red dye number. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is fine. Everything's fine. It doesn't hurt me.
Yeah.
You know,
It's such a slow creep too, isn't
It
it?
is. Yes.
it has
You know,
been.
it's-
Yeah.
It's like you just it happens. What is it? Gradually, then all of a sudden.
Yeah. We are all
Yes,
boiling frogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we are.
Yeah. Perfect analogy.
So,
Yeah.
but we need to move on tonight. We've got a little bit to tackle. One of those things that we need to tackle is Greenland and Canada.
Oh,
We
buddy.
just need to tackle them.
Something that I never thought would be part of American politics
Yes.
is Greenland of all things.
And it's just what's fascinating about it to me is leave it to him to be the one to be like, you know what? That's a big old piece of property.
I love him just coming out of nowhere, and you expect it with him, but it's just like it's so refreshing. Just like, you know what? Gulf of America sounds great. We're just going to go ahead and switch that. I mean, just like it's almost like the audacity, but then you're like, it'll probably happen though. I mean, it's like,
Can you imagine Rand McNally right now is going, oh,
yes.
We got to
please
redraw everything.
everything ever. Every
much-
Encyclopedia Britannica is wrong,
This is going to take so much ink to fix.
right?
Do we have like the templates for the last one so we can just erase Mexico and put America?
Tina, get me a map.
Yes.
Give me the template for the maps.
Oh man.
I mean,
I'll read something briefly from this if you want me to. Or do you go ahead?
yeah, I do
interrupted
want you to. But before that, I would really love a listener to get us all T-shirts that say Gulf of America.
Oh,
like, okay, go ahead.
Yes.
So this was, if you haven't heard about this, I'm going to assume if you have heard about this, hit us with a 1 in the comments. If you have not, hit us with a 2 in the comments. But during a Tuesday press conference from Mar-a-Lago, President-elect Donald Trump would not rule out military or economic coercion in order to gain control of the Panama Canal or Greenland, two areas that have made headlines in recent weeks after Trump suggested wanting to obtain them. A reporter asked, "Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?" Trump responded, "No," later elaborating.
just love it.
I mean, he said later elaborating, "I can't assure you on either of those two, but I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for a military," which is true. It's benefited trade, but it was built to quickly move the military from one part of the country, one ocean to the other. "I'm not going to commit on that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China, and we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China, and they're abusing it. They've abused that gift." And he goes on to, I think, elaborate that, yeah, economic coercion is really, he says, no, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. Oh, that's talking about with Canada. So he's leaning towards economic, but in typical Trump fashion, he's not going to say one way or the other.
Did you see the Canadian, whatever they call themselves up there?
There's the premier.
Yeah, but she said, you know what? Oregon, Washington, and California will take you as Canada. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Okay, so in that respect, California is still in the top. It used to be the 5th largest economy in the world.
Yes.
I don't know if it's still in the top 5. So that would be a loss to us. But if you want to talk about cultural, similarities, they go along. I guess that's the question we could ask. Who do you all think is in the comments? Who's going to leave? Is California going to join Canada first, or is Greenland going to join the U.S. first?
The U.S., yeah. All 50,000. What do they need? 26,000 votes of the 50,000 people that live there to get.
Yeah, so the combined, it's I can give you a couple of stats on it, but there's only about 55,000 people that live in Greenland.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Size-wise, we were talking about this pre-show.
So, like, if you're a celebrity in Greenland, that's really not a big deal.
That's
You know what I mean?
Think about where we live.
Yeah.
By the way.
Oh, yeah, bigger than Greenland.
Population-wise,
Yeah.
we're actually bigger than
Like,
all of Greenland.
We are a really big deal in Greenland.
Yeah.
So Jared got this map.
This is what people often think of as the size of these countries, and this is the Mercator projection versus the true size of countries. So
Dark blue is real.
right, dark blue is actual, and the light blue is what happens when you take, and I'm not talking down to anybody, but this is just to explain for the folks that don't understand, is when you take a globe and you flatten it out, it distorts things. And so what we normally see, what's shown in the schools and all that, is the distorted version. So you think Greenland is this monstrous country, but it's actually about a quarter the size of the U.S. if you took about 48 of our states and combined it, because we've got some, larger states.
It's like the Midwest. It's like,
right, like Alaska and all
Look
those.
at Africa, man. Africa is just.
it's funny. I said
we're
the same thing. I'm like,
we're just
Africa
gonna-
is big.
We're just gonna stay
It's
like
monstrous.
we.
Yeah. And South America is not far off either.
Golly.
Yeah.
And Australia's throwing a shrimp on the Barbie down there. They are close to the real size.
Yes, they are.
But Africa,
Man.
we were talking earlier about with all the resources Africa has,
Oh my gosh.
if these tribes and these people could just get their stuff in order, in 2 weeks they would take over the world.
Oh, there's stuff there that everybody wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Diamonds,
But,
gold,
okay, so
Yes.
but,
Gold.
but Greenland, first of all, how much of that is ice?
Well, and
How
that's
much
the
is
thing.
land mass? How much is ice?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. They have the resources they have. They have oil, natural gas, one of the largest rare earth element deposits on the planet, such as neodymium and dysprosium. They have uranium, iron, zinc, lead, as well as gold and precious metals. So but a lot of it is untapped because of the terrain and the temperature.
What was it? The one dysprosium?
The one that we use every
Yeah.
day.
Well, a lot of that's used in
Products
batteries
and-
and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I usually mix it with my
Give me the
Metamucil.
dysphoria. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Leela brings me an eyedropper for my Metamucil every morning. That's why I look the way I look. But I mean, could you imagine for the first time in history? First time in history. No, it's been like, when was the last time we gained a state?
19
Is it 40? When
40s
was
or
when was
Hawaii, wasn't it? Was Hawaii the last one?
Or was it? Gosh, I can't believe I don't.
Hawaii or Alaska?
Was it
Whoa,
Hawaii or Alaska?
That's a good question.
Daily double.
Ho.
It's daily double.
I'm gonna say. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, which one was it? I'm gonna say Alaska.
I mean, we all have things at our fingertips where we could look it up.
I'm gonna say Alaska, 1951.
Okay. Alaska 1951. Okay. What about
It's probably gonna be Hawaii though.
it might-
Hawaii was the last state to join the United States, becoming the 50th state in 1959.
1959.
Yeah, Alaska was you were really close because January 3rd, 1959 was Alaska, and August 21st, 1959 was Hawaii.
Okay.
Okay. And wasn't Alaska purchased?
Yes.
Wasn't it like they purchased? Okay, so
Yeah.
why can't we purchase it?
Yeah.
I mean, we purchased Alaska.
Evidently, we purchased Alaska for a steal. So
Well, I mean, we purchased the Louisiana purchase for a steal.
yes.
That
Yeah,
was a steal.
that was a
Manhattan was a steal too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think though that it's really up to the people. That they are the people on the left. We'll bring politics into this for a second, but people on the left hate colonization. You know, it's all about fighting against colonialization and you know, these colonizing powers. America is a colonialist power, and Great Britain and all these people are colonialist powers. Greenland is under colonial control by the royal was the
Denmark.
Oh, it's Denmark.
Yeah.
But the royal family, it's not the royal family, the Kingdom of Denmark is what it's called.
Okay.
So they're under colonial control, and they could be relieved of that with 51% of the vote saying,
So, and here's the thing,
hey,
too.
we want to join the United States.
I did a little bit of reading after he even mentioned this, because I'm like, I don't know anything about Greenland. And if they're going to become our neighbor and have flights with JetBlue, I better know.
I've actually flown through Greenland.
I'm going.
I landed in Greenland.
It's got to be beautiful.
It was nighttime, and I could hardly see anything.
Okay.
I didn't get off the military transport
So it was
plane.
like, it's like Kansas, maybe.
It was white snow. I remember that, and they said you can't get off the plane. We just refueled is all we were doing.
But so, you know, I don't know the first thing about it, so I look it up. Apparently, there's a little squabble going on between Denmark and Greenland, because Greenland's primary source of income is fishing,
Okay.
Yeah.
and Denmark is taxing or putting levies on tariffs on their fishing, and it's creating a bit of problem. They're actually not happy with Denmark.
Well, la ti da.
Yeah, and I mean, so it only takes 51% of the vote, and we could have a brand new neighbor.
You know, and from what there's a lot of people in Greenland that are evidently okay with, they're like, yeah, sure, let's do that. Let's go ahead and do this. It's fine.
And I don't know what it would take for Canada, but there's probably quite a few people in Canada that feel the same way, especially now.
Certain places of it, yeah.
I mean, listen, we've already got we've got hockey teams that, you know what I mean? Baseball, hockey.
Yep,
We've got a lot in common.
we do.
We really do.
Talk about some land. That is.
So here's a question for you. There was Dr. Briscoe sent
Yes.
that podcast that was talking about Trump and Elon Musk, and they mentioned this. They mentioned purchasing Greenland, the Panama Canal, of this, and saying that is a version of globalism. Do you all buy into that?
So personally, no.
Yeah.
I don't buy into that.
No.
I don't think it's globalism, because you're actually doing it's the opposite of globalism. And I get where they're coming at it from the globalistic standpoint, because we have our tentacles all over the globe. However, that's actually self-serving. Globalists are all about, I'm all about Denmark,
Yeah.
but I'm not from there, right?
Yeah.
That's a globalist.
Yeah.
So,
I think that if Trump was saying, yeah, we're going to go we're first Greenland and then, the UK, I think that's one thing.
I don't
but,
want the UK.
But we have a landmass that's under colonial control. We're saying we'll alleviate you from all your woes.
Yeah,
You're more than welcome to vote and come over here to us. And
but you got to do it right. You got to
do
vote.
it right.
Spoke with Germany, and they're perfectly fine with joining the U.S.
Right.
I'll tell you
probably
what,
a lot
the
of people that would.
UK,
Get
Germany
me out of
probably
this.
would want to join, especially once deportation
Golly.
starts,
Yeah.
because
They'd be like,
Ireland, they'll join us as long as Trump promises to get rid of them.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen the videos of the? I mean, just like the local townspeople, they don't know what to do with this.
The videos that I've seen in England are just, it's like taking over. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think I would leave. I wouldn't feel safe to leave my house.
tell you what, I wouldn't let my 11-year-old daughter leave my house in the UK.
no,
Gosh, no.
no.
And yet, and for those of you that don't know, well, Jared can fill us in on it. I got to take a drink.
Oh yeah. Okay. So in the UK, there's a series of it's child trafficking is what it is, but it's child exploitation rings. Have you heard about this? And I read the transcripts. I will not get into details because it would absolutely shut this show down quick as a hiccup.
Not anymore.
It is the most that's what Mark Zuckerberg. Well, I'm really excited to see what happens on Facebook.
What old Zuckerberg
because
said,
they say that Facebook is going to become a free speech
Transgender.
platform.
Let's see what
You're
happens.
testing the waters.
Let's see what happens.
But there are instances like this. So let me go back to what I was saying, is that this child exploitation ring is about 90% made up of Pakistani males in the UK. They've tracked in some towns like you were talking about. There was the town where 12 or 1,300
1,400 in a span of like 3 years.
Right. Young girls had been abused. And this is the type of stuff, this is an example of what is happening as opposed to them investigating it. This is the sort of thing that's happening. Listen to this account. It is absolutely horrific.
One of the very first was from a grandfather who rang from Rotherham, who wanted to talk about his granddaughter. 1 month after her 13th birthday, she'd gone to school and then gone missing, and the school had rung her mum, who'd immediately rung the police, who'd said, "Don't worry, love, she'll turn up as soon as she gets hungry." She didn't turn up that afternoon, that evening, and at 2:30 in the morning, the next morning, a woman on the other side of Rotherham had picked up the phone and dialed 999 because she'd heard a young girl screaming in the house next door. Police had gone round to the house. They found this 13-year-old girl with another young girl. She was almost completely naked, she was blind drunk, and she was with 7 adult Pakistani men. She was drunk and leery. And South Yorkshire Police arrested the 13-year-old girl for being drunk and disorderly. They took her back to the station, put her in the cells, eventually charged her, and she was convicted. They didn't even question the men as to why they were in a house with a 13-year-old girl who was nearly naked in the early hours of the morning.
So the reason, and there's another video here that I can show that's of Parliament. So after this is one case, but there are literally hundreds or thousands of these cases. Young girls, they're being preyed upon by these individuals. In the case,
What did you say? Wasn't it like 300,000 missing
in the U.S. are part of the child trafficking? This is in the U.S. That's in the U.S. 300,000 missing.
Wow.
And the slave trade, because this is what it is the largest it's ever been in human history.
Yeah.
And the trafficking of children into situations like this. The 4 guys that were part of this main court case that's now been, like we were talking about, come out, which was not publicized as widely until Elon Musk tweeted it.
Yeah,
out.
Musk brought it to light.
Right.
So.
And so the court transcripts came out. And in this instance, it was 4 guys who had multiple young girls. These young girls they're grown. They had gotten out of that situation, but they brought charges against these guys. And when the transcripts came out, it was some of the most horrific experiences you could possibly imagine. These girls are damaged for the rest of their lives. And the UK is refusing now to dig deeper into where these trafficking rings are going in the UK, all in the name of Islamophobia. Because if you go after these people, it's considered Islamophobia, it's considered racist, it's considered this, that, and the other. So you're no longer protected by law and order. You are in fact opened up to more danger because of wokeness and political correctness.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll play the one where, let me see if I can find it.
Well, and they have gone so far into the PC field.
Gosh.
It's almost like they, for us, the pushback, I think a lot of the pushback that we've seen in the last election was because people are fed up with men beating up women in women's sports. We're fed up with this stupidity.
Yep.
And the people of the UK, by and large, are also fed up, but they've lost their voice now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got, who was it? Some social media influencer was arrested in Germany.
Yeah, Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, arrested in Germany and brought back to the UK. And get this, because of his immigration status. Meanwhile, Pakistani men can rape 13-year-old girls, and because they're Islamic, we're not going to mess with it. Why? Because we don't want riots in the street. God forbid.
Yeah. Tommy Robinson, I've got a video I could play where he's on Piers Morgan. It wasn't on Piers Morgan's show, so it's more tame. It was when he was on the daytime show in the UK. But the reason they go after him for similar reason is he calls out Islam and the Quran and what it says as the reason for a lot of this stuff. And that's why he's been in prison, gets released, he gets rearrested, goes back. Most recently it was because of social media posts, which you can get arrested for in the UK now.
You can get arrested for that.
Yep. And he's 18 months in solitary confinement because of social media posts.
And didn't who's the person in charge in like what's their name in Britain?
Prime Minister?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't he say he was going to arrest Americans?
Yes, he did.
I'm like, dude,
What?
what?
Keir Starmer is the guy's name.
I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, okay.
Why don't y'all come on down?
Please
Come on
come
down to Bristol. We'll
try that.
Yep. Come on with your English accents and your pipes and your shooting jackets and
Buddy, you come to East Tennessee.
Oh,
we'll send you home.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I told Katie when there was word that the BLM stuff was going to go down State Street.
Oh, I remember this.
I said, Katie, there are some boys in Hickory Tree that have been waiting their whole lives for this.
Yeah, this is the moment.
This is
Yeah, I mean, right? Those boys right now are in their bedrooms, oiling up with baby oil, listening to "Eye of the Tiger." You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh man,
They've got their Ariat jeans. They're turning them into cutoffs because it's summer.
that's
So
right.
they're cutting off their Ariats. They're gonna wear their boots.
Yep.
I don't care how I look. It's time. It's go time.
The Tommy Robinson, he does make and a lot of people, you can get into some of the ways that he presents the information, what he says, what he doesn't, whether he's a racist or not, or he says Islamophobia, which is valid, and I've got a clip of Jordan Peterson saying the same thing, but Islamophobia is kind of not an irrational term, but it's a ridiculous term because that's a phobia is an irrational fear of something, right?
Correct.
It's not really irrational to have a fear of an ideology
It's not a fear.
that is.
They're not afraid. So it's not a phobia at all. I'm
saying us, right? Yeah.
We're not afraid of it, but let's call it out.
Right.
And so when you call it out, it becomes this, well, he's afraid or he's hate mongering or whatever. No, I'm just making the observation that Muhammad raped a 9-year-old girl, married a 6-year-old and raped her when she was 9.
Yeah.
I'm just making this observation. And if that's the person that you want to follow and emulate your life after, well, you and I are going to have a discussion because you stay away from my kid.
Mm-hmm.
If you think that's okay because your book says it's okay, you got a father that's not okay with that,
Yeah.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's not, I'm afraid of you. It's really like, you need to be afraid of me.
And it's also separating the people from the ideology. So there's
Absolutely.
people because there's moderates in any faith, any faction,
Yes.
any whatever. There's moderate people. There's people that can take Islam and practice it peacefully, but that doesn't mean that at the core of that ideology, which I kind of hesitate to call it even a faith really, but it's really just an ideology, is a lot of inherently evil things, in particular against women, which I've got this here, but it's not ridiculous to see, or when you see the things happening in the UK, or you see them happening in other countries, which I've seen in Afghanistan, what I've seen in Iraq.
Yeah.
It's taking mentally handicapped women and buying them and walking them into bazaars with suicide vests on. It's not a stretch to say when you listen to and read what Islam teaches that people would be able to go that route. I mean, when you completely dehumanize women.
I like what you said. It's not your run of the mill Muslim.
Yeah.
There's good people that really believe that this is their way, and they're good people. They're not evil. However, they don't know truth.
Nope.
And that's the sad thing about it. A beautiful woman.
Yeah. So Malaysia, that's actually Malaysia. Iran, that's actually Iran. This is the culture versus what Islam has done to women. Radical Islam, you can say fundamentalist Islam, radical Islam, But it all ultimately ends in
Dude,
the
I didn't
same-
know there were that
the
many
same
countries
place.
that made their women dress like this. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
my goodness.
We always knew that when you see the, that, or you see the beekeeper one where they've got that mesh over their face.
Yes.
We saw this a second ago. Those were the places where our ears perked up and where, the hairs on your arms stand up a little more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this right here is how you get what you have in the UK.
Yeah. And it's because nobody stood up and said no.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and now they're afraid to. Really, the Islamophobia is really the UK government or anybody that says, okay, I don't want them to riot. Let's just let them do it. That's Islamophobia.
And then you become their slaves.
Absolutely. Because that's their agenda.
Yep.
This is their agenda, is to get into countries, breed faster than them so that you can take them over.
Become at least 10% of the population.
So you can take them over.
Take part in the government.
Yep. And they're doing it. They're doing it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And, do I think that Islam is the religion of the Antichrist? Yes. Do I think that? Yes, I do. Do I think that Islam is satanic? Yes, I do. I think it was an angel of light. I think it's a hot mess. Do I think that Islam believe in Jesus? Yes,
Yeah.
they do. And that's what strikes me as funny.
Even the demons believe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I can't. I just can't.
That's a tough one.
I know, right?
It really is.
I mean, it
you know?
is.
Well, and
So
and
we're to
it's
love them. We're to love them.
Absolutely.
But don't trust them with your children. And that's the deal.
Well,
and if
and
four
try to-
Pakistani men take an 11-year-old, they need to be hung.
Oh yeah.
They don't need to be patronized. You certainly don't give them back. Shame on you
Yeah, exactly.
for doing this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, and it's people that are making the decisions are the insulated people as well.
Yeah.
So they're insulated behind their private security, behind their
Yep.
their gated
yeah.
communities, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a bit easier when you're not being subjected to, in the lower income areas or wherever they're preying on these young girls, because that's part of what the court document showed, is that they were preying on young girls with dysfunctional families the same way they do it here in the U.S.
yep.
So dysfunctional families, broken families, these are the prime targets for them. And I mean, come on, if you're a highfalutin politician, you're not hobnobbing in those circles. You don't have to worry about it as much.
It's like with the when they they can say they don't want to take guns away, but they do. But then they, but by gosh, they'll have security.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's like the president of that pharmaceutical company who got the jab, but it wasn't the jab,
yeah, yes,
right? You heard about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, hey, guess what? There's going to be a new pandemic this year. Probably multiple. This is so much fun.
Is it the bird flu thing? Is that
Yes,
what it
I
is?
think it is. Yeah, I think it's going to be the bird flu, but it's going to be a variant. We've had the first casualty of the bird flu
We have.
in Louisiana, and it's sad. But we also have had a couple casualties today from running.
Yeah.
Like, it happens. So, at any rate, I say all that because I've got a video I need you guys to watch with me.
Okay.
We do the long one first or the short one?
Long one.
Okay.
So brace yourself. If you're listening, we said at the outset of the show, we've got a pretty crazy video. And I'll just give you the backstory. This is from Pastor J.D. Farag. He is a pastor of Calvary Chapel, in Hawaii.
Hawaii. Yeah.
I miss Hawaii. Sorry.
Oh, man.
I lived there for 3 years.
Did you really?
Yeah. Well, it was 1 year, then I was deployed a year, and then I was back.
I never dated a Miss Hawaii. I always stuck with like Michigan,
Well,
Nebraska. I don't know. Corn-fed. Okay. This video, this snippet blew my mind.
Mhm.
There was a 500-page report that came out in 1997. 1997. That's before you were born.
I was 8.
Okay. So before you were born, 1997.
Wait, in 1997, you were 8? When were you born?
Well, can I do math? Yeah. 89.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, 1997,
Before I was born. Go ahead.
before you were born. 500-page thing comes out describing what 2025 was going to look like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Go ahead and hit play.
So last week, I had an online member send me a video about a 501-page book, which will provide a link to the PDF of so that you can download it. By the way, I chose this one in particular. You'll see why here shortly. But this is one of many.
I always love
chose
his
this one.
shirts.
Right?
I always love his shirts. And
Great
you get away
Hawaiian
with it when you're in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I own some Hawaiian shirts.
And his background, by the way, he's Middle Eastern. He's Iranian.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Particular for a reason. But there is so much out there that all points to the year 2025 as like, this is the year that it's all going to happen. So I even have, I would never do this to you. Well, I should be careful saying that. I'm very capable of doing it to you. I have a 5,000-page PDF file. Not today. But now I don't read these, obviously. I mean, my goodness, who has if I read all of this stuff, Mac or Letu would be up here, not me, because I'd still be reading. So here's what I do: PDF, word search.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll
Word
enter
search.
in words like
Yep.
vaccine, DNA, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, this is riddled with all of the above. Now, this is the title of the book. 2025, Scenarios of U.S. and Global Society Reshape. There's that re again. Rethink, reshape, reinvent, reboot. Global society reshaped by, not God, science and technology. You know what's so fascinating about this? It was published 27 years ago in the year 1997, and it was funded, well funded, by a Washington, D.C. think tank and 3-letter government agencies. And be careful saying, this is where you need to use your imagination. I don't want to say the letters of these agencies. The 3-letter agencies, you know what I'm talking about, right? Just say yes, and so I can move on. But here's the thing. 1997, 27 years ago, and they write a book about a 502-page book about what the world's going to be like in the year 2025, not 2026. It says 2025. And it was published in 1997. I'm looking around. I want to be nice. I'm always looking, because I'm keenly aware that sometimes I'm talking to people that weren't even born yet when I reference a year. Like, even when I'm talking with people, I'm like, yeah, so it was like in 1996. And they just stop me and go, I wasn't even born yet. I was like, I hate you. And I just leave and I just walk away. So 27 years ago, they pick 2025 as the year that will be reshaped, reset by science and technology. Oh my goodness. It gets worse. If you want to download this, and I would certainly encourage you to do so, and you want to start doing some word searches, budget your time, because you'll time will fly by, because this is replete with everything that is happening today. Because did you check the calendar? It's 2025. Everything's right on schedule. Down to the gnat's eyebrow. And yes, gnats have eyebrows.
See, we learned something
But
every
here's
day.
what's so eerie about it. The accuracy of it. I mean, if I wrote a book, I've got the funding, and I'm not going to take it from the 3-letter agencies, but I got the funding. I'm going to write a book, and what is the year 2025 going to look like? I would have come up with something very different, because my template is the Word of God, not science and technology. So I want to take now and read through all 502 pages. No, I'm going to provide you an abbreviated list of what they came up with 27 years ago. And as I go through this, I just want you to use your God-given intellect, and God has given you an amazing intellect. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. The human mind is, no pun intended, actually pun intended, incomprehensible, unfathomable, unbelievable. Use it. As I go through this, I want you to just use your God-given intellect and ask yourself the question of, if this was, I'm going to use this word predicted for lack of a better word. This is not prophecy, but prediction. If this was predicted 27 years ago, somebody knew something. Okay, here's the list. This is an abbreviated list. I could have made it much longer. You know I can. I didn't.
So here we go.
Okay, you ready for the list? Fast mutating viral disease pandemics.
Check.
Genetically developed vaccines.
Check.
Smart IDs.
Check.
1997! I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scream, but, just make sure none of you are nodding off, because the eyes get heavy. And DNA database tracking.
Check.
DNA chips. Get this one. 1997, gene-based pharmaceuticals. Transmitting genetic instructions for a disease process. How about this one? You ready for it? Wait for it. Artificial intelligence to determine gene patterns. 27 years ago,
All this
who
is
had heard
happening.
about AI?
AI in 1997.
They had.
Well, they knew about AI,
How about this
that
one?
it was going to happen,
Robots for doing genome sequencing.
Robots to do genome sequencing.
but the AI is being able to decipher DNA, strands of DNA in medical research. Like, it's being used in everything now.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean,
And then this one blew me away. Using recombinant DNA for making spike proteins. 1997? It gets even worse. Smart homes.
uh-oh.
They have a whole chapter on smart homes / smart cities. This one will absolutely floor you. It did me. In 1997, and this is, you can do the word search and research yourself. They predicted, not 2025, but by 2020, that people would be working from home virtually. Ah, come on. Listen, that's...
I mean, you can't. It's it's impossible to be that correct. I mean,
It's not impossible if it was a pandemic.
well, yeah,
If
exactly.
it was, I mean, it is. The book has been written for us, scripted,
Crazy.
all the way down to the spike protein. I mean, all of it. It gets better.
Yeah. You wanna
Play the next
short one?
video.
Yeah.
He's not done.
Pull it up so everybody can see it.
Nuclear devices causing widespread contamination. Nanotech devices. This stuff was never even heard of. Digital currency. And last but certainly not least, vaccination programs. I'm sorry, I got to chuckle, because if I don't, I'll cry. Vaccination programs run by organizations like the World Health Organization for a global killer that has yet to emerge. First printing, February 1997. Vaccination programs run by organizations like the WHO for a global viral outbreak pandemic that has yet to emerge. How did you know, man? Man, that.
I mean,
I mean, that's. I don't even know what to say.
I'll tell you what that plays into. That plays into, you can go deep into the conspiracy theory rabbit holes, but the Bilderberg sort of thing, the Rothschilds,
Oh yeah.
the folks that have been running the show for a really long time. And, I've mentioned it dozens of times on my Continue Freedom podcast, but we were told in 1961 by President Eisenhower in his last speech that he gave, televised. You can go watch it on YouTube. A very, very good speech, very interesting. I mean, he's not the greatest communicator or greatest speaker, but he talked about his fear of a military-industrial complex and a scientific and technological elite. He had seen behind the curtain enough to realize that we were pumping so much money and giving so much open-ended authority to these people that they represented the greatest threat to our country. This is in 1961, a pretty volatile time around the globe. And he's saying, worry about, we got to worry about other countries, but worry about the military-industrial complex and the scientific and technological elites. And here we've got a paper that was written by 3-letter agencies
in 1997, basically spelling out
Oh, yeah.
our current situation and our future situation. Now, he did mention nuclear. So I know we've all seen the CIA operatives' testimony about how there's multiple cells operating within the United States, right? We've heard stories that the drones are looking for stolen uranium, right? We've heard all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't believe that the nuclear is a bomb. I think we're all exposed to it all the time. Radiation constantly. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I mean, I would say that's kind of like a slow thing, but if they're going to do something catastrophic where you are able to seize power, control, influence, I think it would be something bigger. Maybe it's a dirty bomb. Maybe it's
fog.
It could be something else, something radiological. But I don't know. That's it, man. There's so many rabbit holes.
1997. They have written the book for us already.
Yeah.
They know the beginning from they know the end. They know what their end game is.
Yeah.
But our God knows the beginning from the end.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And I will tell you, the more you dive into things, and I would just challenge you listeners on Rumble, YouTube, the more you dive into things, the more evil and nefarious you see the human heart is and how evil people can be. You know, I got into a little spat, not a spat, but one of my father's friends was commenting about religion and I don't know the guy, but he was talking about basically the moral compass of man and how, people are good. Religion's bad. And I was just kind of like, I get where you're coming from. That's a noble concept, but he brought up his ancestors, and he's obviously they're very pro Native American, right? He's very, my dad too is like, the government took the land from the Native Americans. We did. It was awful. But you know what they did to each other?
Yeah.
No different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what they did to each other before that? And before that? And before that? Like since the beginning, since Cain and Abel, it's always been where you have what I want, so I'm going to club you and take it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think people forget that. Well, I don't say forget. People don't pay attention. They don't look past the surface. They see what they see on TV.
Yeah.
And they think that is a general representation of humanity.
Yep.
But the people that are really doing evil things, George Soros is a prime example. When's the last time anybody watched an interview from George Soros?
Right.
20 years, 10 years, who knows how long.
Presidential Medal of Freedom winner.
And I was just watching videos of him today.
Yeah, I watched a couple today too of him when he was a Nazi.
Yeah. And this was during the Clinton administration.
It was in 1997.
Yeah. He says, I am there for the money. I cannot and do not consider the social consequences. When he was talking about the collapses of Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Russia, because he was selling off their currencies, causing financial collapse, famine, poverty. He says, I don't care. I don't think about the social consequences. The guy is
evil.
Straight up evil.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Evil.
Yeah.
And his son.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, for them to give the Presidential Medal of Freedom to him, and of course, Hillary. But here's the other one that I was so saddened by. Deep sadness. Denzel was up there.
Man. I know.
And I'm like,
yes.
Man alive. of all the years to receive that medal,
Yep.
Denzel's up there with that group.
Yeah.
It's like,
One of the last pure dudes in Hollywood.
dude, he's legit. I mean, so far,
so
right?
far, yeah.
But it's like the poor guy. He's up there and he's got to be like looking around, going like, I don't know or like any of these people.
Yeah.
Like I feel alone up here.
There's there's some things that have, and I want to err on the side of, he wouldn't do this, but there's some things circulating that he was in with some of the Diddy stuff.
Yeah, he was at a Diddy party. Listen,
And I mean,
Denzel
just because you were there doesn't, but I mean, it's
listen,
Denzel.
maybe he was there and he was actively involved,
Yeah,
right?
I hope not. Though.
16 years ago.
I know. I like Denzel.
I love Denzel
really
too.
like
and
Denzel.
But people can change. People
Oh,
can,
yeah.
so
yeah.
The way he talks, though, I have a hard time believing that he would be, because he's like wise.
yeah,
Really
he's
is.
he's got a little bit of smarts to him.
Yeah.
I will give him that.
Yeah.
There was I wish I could remember the quote, and it was so great that if people don't watch the news, then they are uninformed. If they do watch the news, they are misinformed.
Yeah,
That's
Yep.
and when he was talking about I thought that is so
it's genius.
so
yeah.
profound.
It's so
but
it's so
true.
deep.
Yeah,
right?
it's very.
How
deep.
do we get our news?
Yep.
Not from the news.
I'm mouthy, and so I'd like word vomit when I talk, but so to be able to put things into
Yeah, to put
something
things into one-liners.
so
Yeah.
succinct. Yeah,
He's like a master of zingers.
yeah.
you know?
I'm meant to be on a podcast because I just sit here and blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Could you imagine him at a roast?
Oh gosh.
He would come up with some real
yeah.
deep theological, philosophical things, and it's like, wow, that was so deep.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, 1997
That's crazy.
has been played out in modern day. How about the 2020? We're going to be working virtually.
Yeah.
Why? Because of a pandemic. Oh, what did they say? The development of spike protein, the development of DNA research, and like, oh my gosh, this has all happened. This is all happening. And right now we're on the cusp. And I just read today, USA Today, I think it was talking about 4 strains of, was it USA Today or Newsmax? One of them, US News. But 4 strains have come out. They're saying we're going to have another pandemic. Well, of course we are. Of course we are.
Oh, China. I mean, people in China are already wearing masks again.
Mask up.
Yeah, buddy.
Yep. I'm going to tell you now. After, nope, you're not giving me a vaccine. You're not going to make me put on a mask. I'm going to start licking the bubble gum off the bottom side of the stadium seats.
Yes.
Because I want to get it. I want to get through it. I want to get over it.
Yeah.
And if it takes me out, so be it. We all have an appointed time to die.
Yep.
But I'm not going to die while I'm living. And that's what we did in 2020. We all died while we were alive,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good way to put it.
We're not doing that this time around. And I don't believe that we have a president that is going to mandate that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
If he does, I mean,
who knows?
he was, and people love to go after him. In fact, that same podcast was talking
Yes.
about, he was for the lockdowns. Well, briefly, nobody knew exactly what was going on. He was new to politics. He didn't understand the ins and outs of it, and he was improperly informed. He's a business mogul. Of course, he didn't know what to do when.
He didn't know how Fauci was, or,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
anything like that.
But I think he's seen now the pushback that has come from it. I don't.
But there is that angle, and it is 10-11. But I want to. There is that.
I'd go for another hour. I'm
I
enjoying
can too.
this.
There is the angle though, of like, if it was Hillary that got elected, and she was like, "You're gonna take a mask and put it on, and you're gonna get a shot,"
Yeah.
the conservative right would be like, "No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not."
Oh, no, they're
I mean, it's like the old story about the 3 guys in the jungle, and
Oh, I just had an epiphany.
go, yeah,
Okay, so
because mine was just a joke.
what? Sorry about that.
So,
I
literally.
might have ruined a good
Yeah,
joke.
no, it's good.
What if, as part of the plan, the last pandemic was to see who would or would not, take a knee, whatever. They found the people that would. Now the next one is actually
It's not the trial.
dangerous.
It's not the trial run.
it's not the trial run, and it is in the high mortality rate, and it's protected. You're protected if you wear a mask, and if you don't, you don't. And then you take away in one fell swoop all of the belligerent, non-conforming people,
right?
Because I mean, think about the who else got the Presidential Medal of Freedom? Was what's her name? Jane Goodall.
Yeah, I saw her.
What does Jane Goodall say?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
What does Jane Goodall say? If I could.
Besides
I
that,
didn't even know she was still
yeah.
living.
Or wait, was it? It was.
I had no idea.
That's what it was.
She was
Yeah.
in the 80s. Okay.
She says if she could, and in a painless way, press a button and 7 billion people would die.
Yeah.
She
Nice.
would do it.
Cool.
She did. Did you ever see that gorillas in the mist, the fog? See, do you get where we're coming? That's prophetic. She was in Gorillas in the Mist, and we just had that fog that made everybody kind of sick.
Seen
right?
a lot of
It's
Planet
so
of the Apes.
We're stitching some storylines together
yeah,
here.
let's go with it. You know what? Our graphic needs to be Jane Goodall
Oh yeah.
snorting fog. You know, just like there could be a gorilla blowing smoke on her.
Oh man, I wonder if Grok could make that.
So anyway, yeah, she was
I
there.
graduated college, but you'll lose me real quick with some stuff.
She was there. She wants
I barely graduated.
She wants to call the population.
Yeah.
Gates, like they all want to
Well.
call the population. And so maybe you're onto something, Jared, with that epiphany, because the first virus didn't kill enough people.
Yeah.
But actually, sorry. The first round of vaccines didn't kill enough people.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not done with that yet. I mean, we're still,
Yeah.
just ask your mortician. We're not done with that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the second round, let's make a virus that's so deadly you have to take what we give you. Oh, that's genius. And you know what we do? We put Trump back in office because they'll listen to him. The people that will push back, the people that will push back are the people on the right.
Yeah.
The conservatives, they'll push back. The left will do whatever you tell them to.
Yeah.
So let's not elect our person. In fact, what can we do? Oh, I don't know. Who is completely deplorable that we could put up as the next president, the nominee? Oh, I know. Kamala.
There's no way she wins.
She can't win. She couldn't even win her own primary. In fact, guys, you know what we need to do? Let's not have a primary so we can put Kamala up against Trump so that Trump can win, so that we can roll out this next round and he can support it. The right will take it, and then everybody's in the same category. Oh, that's genius. That's next level thinking. That's something you predict in 1997.
You know what, though? Some of the right will, but I think there are so... I don't know, man.
Well, the problem is they bankrupted it, right? The
They're
problem is
so-
Fauci, and they made such a mess of it that nobody trusts them anymore.
See, that's the thing. Even if Trump's said it, I don't think the people that would literally do whatever he says, which, here's the thing. Am I glad he got elected? Absolutely. Would I do... He is not... I can't remember the exact words. He's not my savior. He's my president. Okay, so that's... There we go.
Do you mean you wouldn't go
No.
January 6th? You wouldn't go to the White House, or you wouldn't?
Because he said to.
Yeah, you wouldn't go though if he told you to go. I mean, I remember him specifically in that speech saying that he wanted them to break the windows,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
trample the police,
Yep.
rifle through Nancy Pelosi's desk.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him telling them all that.
Wear a helmet with
Yeah,
Viking
buffalo.
horns.
You in the
Yeah.
buffalo helmet.
Yeah, man.
You're going to be the spokesperson. Get a
Absolutely.
flag. Paint your
Absolutely.
face. You're not patriotic enough.
I'm gonna be the shaman.
The shaman. That's it. Yeah. I remember him saying that and directing all that traffic.
Yep.
So I wouldn't listen to him either.
But I think there's so many.
but there's a chance that
there's a people that would. Absolutely.
there's people that would, where if it was anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be like, I ain't taking that. I'm running from it, you know?
Well, and they'd say, well, this is not what we vote. There'll be a large portion that says this is not what we voted for.
Yeah.
This is kind of like this decision is kind of like what we had.
So let's ask our listeners. I think this is an important question.
Okay.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When this next round hits
Mm-hmm.
of bird flu / grape flu, like whatever. Yeah. Might as well just
It's great.
right now.
Take my grapes away, man.
Yeah.
I love grapes.
Right now, somebody at the grape company's like, shoot, did they just say grape flu? What?
Welch's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, the guy at Welch's is like, no, they shouldn't have said that. Now we are sell.
lose 10 points off the.
Right?
Oh man.
But so you think about this. When it comes, it's not if, it's when.
Right.
When it comes like, hey, you need to put a mask on and you need to take this or you're not safe. What is your answer going to be? Oh, well, watch. Our president's getting it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think there's a difference. Like, if it's some random yahoo out in public that says, you know,
Oh, never. It's the next Dr. Fauci, right?
oh, you said, okay, so you're saying
Well, it's
no
like,
on a,
that's a question. Is if it's RFK saying it, people
RFK
gotta
is
listen
saying
versus-
RFK is up there saying everybody should use
if they could-
God love it.
everybody needs to take
God love it, man.
get this shot. And it'll make you look like
I mean, that's
buddy.
the thing. Like if you know
Boy,
if they convinced him to say it, people would listen because he's so.
health conscious and he's so, you know.
people would listen to him more than they would Trump.
I think so.
I agree.
So if
And
if they had an actual emergency, if Trump knew,
And you know he'd be handling a snake while he's saying it like he's got the guy is Steve Irwin reincarnated.
Oh, I know. Dude. He's fearless, man.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
okay, so if it's a random Joe Schmo that he pulls in the Fauci version 2.0, then people would be like, no, I'm absolutely not. I'm not doing this. No
What
way.
if it's Dr.
Some-
Oz?
Some bureaucrat. Even if it was Dr. Oz, because a lot of people weren't happy about Dr. Oz, being brought into.
What about
the fold.
Dr. Phil?
Yeah, well, Dr. Phil even.
He's not a medical doctor.
But if if he got psychologists telling you what to put in your body, no.
Yeah, no thanks.
There's a funny video out there. They were interviewing people at a psychologist convention and said, "How many people have you cured?" And every one of them was like, "Well,
That's not what we do.
no." But anyway, if it is, and that should be like a prerequisite for Trump. If we really need to be worried, and this really is effective, have RFK Jr. come out, and that will carry significantly more weight, because a guy who is so down with health, with the safety or not of the stuff we're putting in our bodies, he says, "Look,
So here's
y'all know
a
where I
question.
stand.
Here's a question
This is
then.
a big deal."
Okay, if we're going to cull the population by 7 billion people, right? What better way to do it than to come out with a real life-threatening virus after this hot mess that just happened?
Yeah.
And they did so well at making it look like they didn't know it was going to cause these problems.
Yeah.
Right? They're still trying to keep the problems under wraps a little bit, even though more and more studies are coming out. They're like, and I'll tell you, if you're still getting boosters, you're an idiot. I'm just going to say it. And, go ahead, Rumble people and YouTube, go ahead, say what you got to say to us, but you're an idiot if you're still getting boosters for COVID. Okay? The new shot comes out for this new virus. If this new virus is a killer, the new shot will neutralize it, just like COVID, right? Whatever. But what better way to kill millions of people that you disagree with than to have round 2 of this mess where the population that doesn't agree with you isn't going to take this shot because they all listen to the same algorithm. Thank you, AI.
Yep.
We all drink the same Kool-Aid. Don't take the shot. The shot kills you more than the disease does.
And then you come out with something where the shot actually helps you.
Yes.
And the people that don't are the belligerent ones, and you get rid of them.
It's genius. Oh, I should be in planning with Soros. I'm going to apply.
That sounds like you've been in the mix of some Simpsons episodes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess with that, 1997, all those things predicted, and we can just check mark them off. You don't think that this is part of a plan You don't think that where we're at today is part of a plan. You don't think that drones showing up are part of a plan.
After hearing that,
You don't think
shoot,
that,
buddy.
right? You don't think that these mysterious orbs are part of a plan, and the plan isn't from the Lord. And you know how you know? Because there's a lot of confusion involved
In fear.
and fear. God doesn't operate on fear and confusion. Those are things that Satan operates on. And so anytime you come up against something that sows confusion and fear into your heart, into your marriage, into your, right, any of it, you sit back and go, okay, Lord, what's true about this, first of all? And I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe this. So where are the drones, by the way?
Yeah, I haven't heard a darn thing about those anymore.
Did we just get
And it's
through?
what's hilarious is when
Fog killed them all.
there you go.
Well, or whatever they needed to get done
Yes,
while we were
they-
distracted has already been done. So it's okay. Bring them in.
What cracked me up is when they came out and said, "Yeah, we've studied these basically, and we've concluded that they're not a threat." That was it. It's like, okay, this we've never seen this. Okay, you can't just come out and say, "Oh, like, this isn't like the Jetsons." Okay, like this is there's an explanation somewhere, and it's what it is you're not but you're not wanting to say. It's just
Well,
the
we're
same
stupid.
playbook. Yeah.
And then it takes a serviceman blowing himself up in front of.
Yeah, with
Or did he?
with the video where you see him still moving and alive. Have you seen that one? Oh yes, there is a video. There's a surveillance camera of him right in the truck, right in front, and they go frame by frame, and it's slight, but you see him. The explosion happened on the right, like it looked like the glove box almost, really. And you see him going like this right before it blows up. So the theory of, oh, he shot himself in the head, that's out the window because he's moving right before it blows up. So
Did
it's
they
like,
I don't even remember. Did they find a firearm in the truck? Did they say?
I haven't looked at it
that I
recently.
do not know.
All
I know
is-
they found his passport intact, just like they found the 9/11 terrorist passports
Yeah.
all intact.
Gosh.
That's not weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
I follow an Instagram that's all about the 9/11 stuff.
oh yeah. we can get into
Yeah.
Listen, I was there. I can tell you that those buildings actually did fall down. However, they shouldn't have. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yes,
The only thing I can say for certain is that thousands of people died and the buildings fell. The rest of it's up for discussion.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That was not what we were led to believe it was.
No.
And those two guys, back to what Ben was talking about, all we know is that they were both SF guys, which is shocking
It's weird, right?
that they, from the same organization, from the same,
And here they come out in the news and say there is no I don't know what, not collusion. There's no similarities in between the two things. I'm like, bro, they were in the same, like, I want to say group. I don't know what the term is, but
they knew each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
How
They knew each other,
how do you say that there's
right?
no
I mean, you
connection?
can't. They're from the same base.
You could be from the same base and not know each other, but to be from the same base and not know each other and happen to carry out an attack
On the same
on
day.
the same day,
And-
don't call me that stupid. You could call me. You could say I'm a dumb American and I'm gonna buy the hype. No, I'm not. When you have that coincidence, that's just not. It's not a thing. And in SF, they were both special forces, in my understanding.
Well, and that's what I was getting at is, okay,
If they're both in the same group, they know each other.
Yeah.
and not even in the same, like, squad or anything. Just like they're both in special forces. They know each other because there's not
such a small community.
right. They
Like,
know each other
Such a small community.
or know of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, our listening hour has begun. It's 10:30.
Yes.
It's so weird, this show. Did you know that as we progress, we get more?
Oh yeah.
I don't understand it.
Well, I
but
mean, it flies by is what
yeah,
it does.
it does. But like we get more views, more listens, more everything. More people chiming in later than earlier.
Got a lot of night owls.
That's
Oh, I
it.
don't know. Well,
understand.
yeah.
Well, we're kind of on the cusp of two people. We're the ones that want to watch it as they go to bed, and the ones who are insomniacs, and
Yeah.
they're like, I need something that's got to be on.
Yes.
Let's watch these guys.
Yes.
What I feel like now, what we feel like now is now that the kids are in bed, just slip into something more comfortable.
I'll just do a different lighting setup and just like
Yes. And the music.
pull it down into like more dramatic lighting, and then just turn on red lights behind us.
Yeah, we got a real good thing going on.
Welcome to Braver Than the Rest After Dark.
I'm gonna take my shirt off. Go get me some of that baby oil from P. Diddy's.
We're going to be slow jamming the news. Oh, everybody gets a very white voice after 10:30, don't they?
Bring in those Pakistani men.
What's up, you cool
Oh.
kids?
Oh, all right.
Oh, man.
Well, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about tonight's episode, but
Or about
not,
us.
not
You know,
concerns. Well, obviously, there's a lot of concerns going on, but first and foremost, if we're not here next week, because millions of people have been abducted by aliens, those weren't aliens.
Yeah.
I should finish the show out in this voice.
That is something else.
Those are not aliens. And if they are aliens, they're illegal. And Trump's going to deport.
We got plenty of those, yeah. Oh, man.
Should the Lord tarry and we broadcast next week, we would love to have your ideas of discussion and comments. We've had so many discussions pre-game that I wish we could go on air with. There's so many things that we talk about.
It happens every week.
Every week.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what, Calvinist?
Oh, that was a really good convo.
He's a murderer. John Calvin murdered people. There, I said it. If that's who you ascribe to in your theology, you might want to rethink it just a little. Just say it.
That's a big one to end on right there.
Yep.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yes.
Braver than the rest. No, hey, call it out. You want to have a discussion? You want to talk about something? Email us at thebraverthantheRest@gmail.com. That's right. We don't have a website, so we use the Gmail. So thebraverthantheRest@gmail.com. Also, I want to encourage you guys, tune in to Continued Freedom.
Oh, yeah.
Also, comment. Lots of comments. We need shares and comments.
Yep.
And also, we're going to close out tonight with probably one of my favorite stories of all time. Once upon a time, there was a gentleman who made leather wallets. And I know we talked about this last
Yeah.
time. You have South Carolina.
So I've gotten into this thing making wallets out of footballs, like game used footballs for colleges and stuff. So
And you don't do it. You have a legitimate company.
oh yeah. I don't do it out of the back of the van or anything like that. Like it's had a company for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now. But I got contacted by somebody in Ole Miss's equipment department.
Yeah, Old Miss. Okay.
Yep.
And so you made wallets,
Made some stuff for them.
some stuff.
But
the biggest news.
yeah, somebody with the Iowa Hawkeyes
Yes.
has contacted me.
Yes.
And gonna do the same thing, so it's pretty cool.
Lord Jesus, make it happen.
That's right. Lord Jesus, let Jeremy get a free football.
Okay, so I want to talk about this on our parting note, because we are about to embark on, finally, for the first time in history, a real college football playoff with 4 teams that are supposed to be the best in the nation, right?
Yep.
I have no doubt in my mind that 2 of them are.
Yes.
Okay. The other ones are not. And I'm going to tell you who's not this year. That's a team from the SEC.
Okay.
I think the SEC is,
Oh, they've underperformed this year for sure.
I think they're done.
That's strong words.
Big words, but the Big Ten is definitely top dog this year by light years.
Well, you don't have. I don't know, man.
I mean, think about it. Oregon got knocked out, right, by Ohio State. Now, you're going to tell me that anybody was going to beat Oregon? No. Oregon was unstoppable till Ohio State got them. I hate Ohio State,
Yeah.
but I'm pro Big Ten. I'm really pro Penn State. I like them.
See, I just don't think Penn State's that good. I just
No, they're like Texas. They're like Notre Dame. I think Ohio State is above
I think
all three of them.
Ohio State and Notre Dame are going to play for the title. That's what I think.
And I think it'd be a great game. I think that would be fantastic.
Here for really any of them too. I know.
I hate both of them.
Yes.
I can't stand either one.
So what the heck?
Can't stand either one.
What do
It'll
I
be the
do?
lowest rated game in history of college football playoffs. Will be Notre Dame, Ohio
My
State.
father-in-law says hope for like a sinkhole, basically.
Yeah,
That's-
swallow it up.
it.
Swallow both teams and everybody in it. Right?
yes.
But you know what I did read the other day? The Fighting Irish got their name because the students rose up. They were having, I believe it was a Klan rally,
Oh gosh,
and the students rose up and beat them out of town.
I did not know that.
And so they called themselves the Fighting Irish because the student body rose up and beat the Klansmen up and threw them out.
They got touchdown Jesus.
They do have touchdown Jesus. So I'm just saying, I'm just going to throw that out there. That I kind of go, all right, that's kind of cool, right? But I did want to finish out with this because it's lighthearted and fun. I think the Vols, I think we had a great team this year, and I think we're going to have a great team next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are probably the top team in the SEC next year. I really do.
Ooh, ahead of Georgia.
Ahead of it,
One
yes.
one can hope.
I mean,
That's what I've been saying my whole life.
Yeah,
because
me
I
too.
barely remember
Yeah.
'98. So
Yeah.
one
Yes.
can one can hope.
and when the wheels on the bus fall off of Texas this year,
Yeah,
because they're going to get rattled real quick.
I hope so.
They're going to get crushed this game. They're not making it to the next one. And if they do make it to the next one, you're going to see,
I'm making a wallet for a Texas fan, so
I'm going to say
hope
70.
he doesn't see that. But
Are
yeah,
you
I
really?
can't stand, oh yeah, I can't stand Texas.
They'll give you by 70 in the national championship game.
be
It's
fine.
called 80.
That'd be
You know,
fine.
okay. And then you get to see Sark cry like a
Mm-hmm.
baby. He is such a whiny coach. I can't. That's why I can't stand them. Is because there isn't a bigger baby in college football than him.
I can't stand them because they think they're the real UT, and University of Tennessee was around much before they were. So
Yeah.
When was UT founded?
1794.
Wow.
Wow. Look at that.
Wow.
When
University
was-
of Texas, 1850
So
something.
they're not the UT.
18 something. So
VMI was 1837, 36, 37.
Really?
I'm supposed to remember that.
What about the University of Tuskegee?
Tuskegee.
I don't know.
I'm gonna end. I'm gonna start ending the show singing the alma mater of UT. of Tennessee. I haven't memorized. I promise I can sing the whole thing. But
Good, you don't have anything else memorized about that. About school. I learned nothing, but I got this song.
that's right.
I'll tell you what, right now.
I always impress people by saying I can, as a VMI guy, we had our rap Bible, they called it. And it's all these things that they just make you memorize. And we had one called the inscription on the parapet. And it's this long,
Can you still do it?
oh yeah, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Give me like 30 seconds.
It's not that long.
4 seconds.
So the inscription on the parapet, the healthful and pleasant abode of a crowd of honorable youths pressing up the
Okay,
hill of
that's
science
enough.
with no
That's enough.
emulation.
I can't even.
real
A
fast.
gratifying spectacle and art to our country and our state.
There's no passion in that. There's no passion in that. I didn't feel it.
It's like studying for a Spanish test. You memorize it and then you forget the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
There's no passion.
but he didn't forget it. So
Yeah, I didn't forget it.
You know, it's like, God, who in sundry times and diverse manners spake.
No, because it was all about speed and just getting all the words right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't have any emotion.
10:30. We've got nothing left other than keep your eyes to the skies. Our king is returning, braver than the rest. Don't take the next round of jabs. Signing off till next week. We love you.